All right. Public chat. There we go.
And we are live.
Yeah, I'm going to put a nice little banner up there too. Scroll the banner. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we are live. This is a conversion chemistry live webinar. Pathway to profits, drive your side gig to success. So I am going to preface this a little bit. It's a different format than we usually do. I am Jonesy, co-founder of Conversion Chemistry, our all-in-one marketing platform for entrepreneurs. It's a mastermind. It is a content hub. It is a resource vault of highly proven technologies and frameworks to drive profits by helping you create, connect, and convert. So what we're doing today, this is a special one-off. Joining me is Faisal Forde. He is one of our pro-level founding members of Conversion Chemistry. And as such, all of our pro-level members join us in a monthly mastermind. It's members only. We hold it once a month. Where we run a hot seat. We do a few things. Usually it comes down to a volunteer joining a hot seat to bring your ideas, bring your business ideas or business progress before us. Then we put it into a framework to either get you unstuck, level up, scale, solve problems, both from the perspective of myself, Frank, and Hannah, who run Conversion Chemistry, and also from the members, because we like to cross-pollinate our successes and failures, right? Because every failure should lead to a case study on how to do something better. So that's what we do. We tackle your business challenges and apply personalization to our proven frameworks. So it was 2 weeks ago exactly, as we're streaming this on October 1st, 2024. One of the member benefits of Conversion Chemistry is that if you can't attend, you get to watch a replay of the mastermind. Yay. So that way it's recorded and in history and you get to revisit it and don't miss out on the value. And if you're like myself, you don't always retain what you see and watch and participate in the first time around. So it's available for members who even were involved, and it's in our members only forum. So what had happened was, upon recording it, we had a glitch within Zoom, and basically we just had to reset the feed. And upon doing that, I did not realize that the entire session was not recorded. And Faisal here was part of the members' spotlight, in which he was bringing a concept, more than a concept, it's a framework, then we'll get into it, that he created for himself, that not only did we break through a couple of barriers and actually find out a couple of opportunities for him to take, we realized that this is something that could probably be turned into an app, even a web app, something that's, the world can see, the world can use to really optimize the monetization of a side gig. The framework itself it's meant for delivery drivers and ride sharing, that kind of gig ecosystem. It can be applied for other things, but I mean, that's the primary focus and use case and where we're at today. So what you'll get out of this is you'll get a demonstration of the minimum viable product of this framework, which is called Boing Delivery. And that's Faisal's own brand of his business. It'll help give you some clarity on side gigs, which jobs to take, factoring in your expenses, how to optimize it, knowing when to turn down the particular gig if it comes up on your Uber screen or delivery, or if it's just a bad night to work. Digital budgeting made easy. And yeah, and you're going to get the sneak preview of what I believe is going to be a game-changing app for some entrepreneurs here, because it kind of puts everything all into one. We have some other apps out there like Driver's Note. That's the first one I can think of to track mileage. Plenty of freelancer apps that you can use to track your time, track your expenses and whatnot. But this formula, it's a complete optimization. So I'm going to introduce my friend and member here, our first international member of Conversion Chemistry, that we're now actually in 5 countries, but Faisal was the first international member from Ireland. I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself.
Jonesy, thank you very much for having me on again. I know it was a bit unfortunate that we missed last time's feed, but here we go again. So, my name is Faisal. I'm 31 years old. I'm currently living in Ireland. I've been here for about 5 years now. So, I just want to get started with how Boyne Delivery started. So, around this time last year, say around May, I was faced with a bit of a situation on a personal basis and on a financial basis. And I found myself in a situation where I was looking at my expenses, my rent, and so on, and I was looking at my income, and I realized I'm in a bit of trouble here because I'm, I have a house to pay for basically, and what I was getting from my job with Intel at the time was not enough. To be clear, I wasn't working directly with Intel. I was working on site with them as a contractor, but I was on site at Intel at the time. Things went south when I was there, and I realized I had to get out. I eventually did get out of there. I handed in my notice and I went for another job, which was still a contractor for Intel, as it turns out. But this time it's off-site in a small town just off-site from where Intel is in Enfield, County Meath. I'm currently actually living in Navan, County Meath as well. Intel is based in County Kildare in Leixlip, where all of my deliveries are taking place are in Leixlip, where Intel is, Maynooth, as well as Kilcock. These are all based in County Kildare, and that's where the focus of my delivery is. So here's what I here's a situation I was with at the end of last year, December 2023. I had just started my new job, and I realized I needed to do more to make ends meet. I was in debt at the time and in a pretty bad place, if I'm honest. I remember walking in the park and thinking to myself, what am I going to do? I'm in deep trouble here. So I sat down and I had my pen and paper and I noted down all of my expenses and my income. And I did a little bit of a plan there. And I realized, hang on a minute, I can do this. I can manage something. I can cut down on some expenses and have some kind of budget forming here. So in doing that, I realized, okay, I'm able to at least break even on my income and my expenses. And the good thing with my new job was I had no breathing room this time. I was absolutely swamped when I was working over at Intel. It was very stressful working on site in the fabs. But with my new office job, I had a lot more time to rest, and I was coming back home and staring at four walls basically, and said, "Well, I can do something here. I can do something extra." So I started looking at different side hustles, side gigs, and so on. Um, I was very motivated at the time by watching George Bruno's videos, which helped me go through a very dark time in my life. And I'm actually staring up here at the piece of paper that I printed out with his 10 steps to recovery. And the one that I have highlighted in front of me is start a side hustle or
Mm.
job, save your money. That's the ninth one that he had. That really stood out to me when I eventually found a side hustle for myself. I was looking at all sorts of different things from transcripting, blogging, starting a website. I had no idea where to start. Somehow I got started in food delivery. I just started ringing up all of my local food delivery shops, whether it's pizzerias or Indian, Chinese takeaways, chippers, and so on. And I just started asking around, look, do you need any drivers? And for the most part, locally in Navan, the answer was no. So I thought, well, hang on a minute. Okay, this is no good now. I know Navan is not great for work. It's good to live in. I mean, nice houses and everything, but in terms of work, it's not great, which is why I actually work in Enfield, and which is close to where Intel is in Lixlip. So I just had this idea of, well, hang on a minute. I know there's Domino's in Maynooth. So I said, what the hell? I'll go ahead and I'll go into them and see what they say. And they were very happy to take me on. They were very serious about it. They said, yes, we have we have a plan here and so on. This is what we pay our drivers for hourly fees and so on. And this was at the beginning of this year, 15th of January. That was the day that I started. And so I said, well, okay, great. I have a start here for something. So I started going in, and soon enough, I started to get the hang of how the deliveries work, how much I'm paid per drop for different locations. And at some point, I said to myself, well, I'm not sure how exactly it came about, but I said, you know what? I don't mind seeing how I can streamline all of this. And I remember sitting down one time and my budget came together bit by bit for Boeing delivery. I hadn't named it at that stage, but I could see myself adding more and more and more tabs to my Excel sheet as I was trying to come up with some sort of long-term plan. I said to myself, right, I'm in this part-time job now that I created for myself. What can I do to make it last a long time rather than just be, a couple of weeks in, make a few extra dollars or euros in this case, and out again. So I said I need to find some kind of long-term solution. So I decided, well, again, taking some inspiration from George Bruno, to set targets for myself. Like I would set targets for myself for going to the gym or losing weight. I said, let me set myself some daily targets for how much I need to achieve. After I get an idea of how much I could realistically achieve on a single night, working out in Domino's or working on other apps like Just Eat, Uber, and Deliveroo. That eventually came later, but they are now part of my side hustle slash income.
Hmm.
So I eventually signed up for these other apps, which took a bit of a while, but and a lot of pushing and shoving, but I eventually got on. So what I would like to do now is I have a little presentation here. I will go through it very briefly just to give you an idea of uh, how one will get started if they want to do a bit of delivery, and then we'll delve straight into the Boeing delivery budget.
Yep. So let me just recap real quick on a couple key points that I picked out. And some of them actually stand out to me uh, fresh compared to the first time we had this discussion. Is you took an idea and took action, and there's something to be said about that because that's one of the common hurdles that we help entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs get past. Is myself included, ton of ideas, but ideas are nothing without execution.
Yes,
And then execution can't happen efficiently without applying, and you already talked about it, the SMART goals. All right, SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. All of those of which you incorporated into this, which is great, and that needs to be commended right there.
that's great. Thanks for
Right?
that,
Yeah,
Jonesy.
especially when you talk about our friend George Bruno from the Fire Your Boss podcast. He gave you this inspiration to start the side hustle. And that's great. But then when you start it, you hear, oh, we're not hiring, we're not hiring, we're not hiring. It can be immediately dejective.
Yes,
But what do you do in that case? You pivot, you adapt, and you recreate the conditions of the environment or change the environment.
exactly. Change the environment, as
Yeah.
one would say.
And so
So
that all went into play around January of 2024.
yes,
And now fast forward 10 months later, well, 9 months later, here we are, early October 2024. Now you have this entire framework. So I'm going to let you go into your presentation now for Boeing delivery.
that's great. Thanks for that, Jonesy. So 2024 is the year that you get unstuck. That's someone's line. I
Mhm.
stole that. But yeah, so thanks again. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see if I can do that here. Again, share screen, and I'm going to share the entire window. There we go.
All right.
So you can see my screen there, Jonesy. Can you? Yep,
Yep.
great. Now, let's see if we can get this started. So, right, you can see that, Jonesy, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So it's funny that you mentioned, Jonesy, the concept of SMART, which I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what it stands for now, but it's like what you said. I happen to just put as my starting slide, Boeing Delivery, the smart delivery guide, which I presume is fitting in this case. So, what is Born Delivery about? Just a little bit of an intro. What we're going to do here is we're going to take the guesswork out of all your deliveries and focus only on the most profitable offers that come in through on the apps. That way, we're going to identify the high value opportunities in order to build a strong business foundation for yourself. That and also this is an effective approach to managing your side hustle finances. So, what I'm going to offer you is digital budgeting tips to keep you one, on top of your earnings and expenses, and two, ensuring maximum profitability. I'm also going to offer you an insider look at the Boeing delivery database, which features detailed delivery and expense invoices for your easy tax preparation. Yes, we are going to talk about tax. This is a subject that delivery drivers don't like to talk about, but you're going to have to face it. And another major key point here is I'm going to offer you a calendar of major televised events that will help you to strategically plan your shifts for your peak earnings. So, without further ado, where do you get started? Like I said before, start locally, have a look around at your local restaurants in the area. Try it for a few days, see how it goes. If you don't like it, bad vibes, big deal, go somewhere else. Location is key, and so is the timing of when you decide to start. So start now, not later, not tomorrow. Now then, what mode of transport do you use? As you may have figured out, this man loves his car, and he's taken loads of pictures of it, and he's crammed it all into this one slide. Delivery drivers, usually what would you use? You have a car, great, use it, maintain it, love it, do the oil changes, do the servicing. Brakes are squealing, don't let them drive you crazy. Change the brakes. It's easy enough if you have a car, well, I suppose at this age, it's generally easy enough to maintain your car. If you don't want to go into the hassle of maintaining your own car, take it to a shop. Give it its routine maintenance. Get the oil changed. It's cheap enough. Oil is cheap, engines are expensive. So keep your car maintained because you are going to rack up a lot of miles doing this. Another option, of course, is a scooter or moped. This is an excellent choice. Last time, Jonesy, I brought up the topic of a YouTube figure that I watched called London Eats.
Mhm.
This is a very inspirational guy with the same sort of concept that I have of he was looking to make more money and he decided to see if he could go on YouTube and film himself. You can see he has a GoPro strapped to his head there, and he just films first person as he's going around London. It's great to watch, and many of the tips that I learned on how to handle deliveries, I learned from him. So highly recommend to go online and watch London Eats. If you don't have a moped, a bicycle is also an option. There's two guys that I follow as well called Delivery Unplugged up here on the upper left, and Jayesh from Gig Hustle. Both of them are two delivery cyclists in the UK. Not entirely sure where from exactly, but again, you can go on a regular push bike, as they call it, a regular bicycle, or use an electric bicycle or an e-bike at the same time. And you see the way these two pictures are here. I promise that was a complete accident. It doesn't look like as if this guy is giving the other guy money. That was a complete accident when I was making that slide.
The
You
forum's a
know.
little short, but yeah, I see where you're going.
So moving on then. So the equipment that you need. First of all, apologies for the horrible photo that I took there of me last night taking this picture of my own phone. But as you can see, I was tired. It was getting late. You will be provided usually with a thermal bag. If you work with Domino's, they will provide you with your kit, your shirt, your hat, your trousers for the most part as well. They'll provide you with a uniform and you'll have bags taken to you as well on your deliveries. In the case of when I signed up for Just Eat, they sent me a bag, and it's actually a very good bag, and it cost me nothing. So that was good. That was good enough for me. You could look into getting other equipment, but for the most part, just to get started, this is enough. Use your own phone and use the bags that are provided to you by the apps or by the restaurant. So We're eventually going to talk about something called multi-apping. You can see I have all the delivery apps up here in front of me for Just Eat, Uber, Deliveroo, and the Domino's delivery experience. I'm just going to put aside Domino's delivery experience for a while because when you're working with Domino's, you will exclusively work with them for the time period that you're working, the day that you're working. But when you're working on the other three apps, you can do something called multi-apping, which involves having all three apps online at the same time and accepting an order which comes into one of the apps. Decide if that's good enough, accept it. Go offline on the other two apps. Finish up your order. When you finished up that order and you've delivered it, go online on all the other on the rest. You could also do the what you call when you're getting close to delivering to a customer. This is something I actually did last week and it worked out very well for me, which is I just entered the neighborhood of where I was going to deliver. I was on Just Eat. I turned on Uber Eats just as I was going into the neighborhood, and I got an offer on Uber Eats while I was still delivering for Just Eat. Declined the offer as it was too low. It came back 10 seconds later, €2 higher. That is when I accepted it. Accepted that offer, delivered the offer on Just Eat, go back to the car, continue my offer on Uber Eats, which was great because there wasn't another offer waiting on Just Eat for me. So that was a handy way of just go, 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 next, 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 keep going, don't stop. We don't want any downtime here
Mhm.
if we can manage that. So hopefully we avoid this situation where you're just sitting there um, like I did a few weeks ago. I miscalculated a day and I was just sitting there with no orders and it was very depressing and I made no money. So we hopefully want to avoid this or worse, getting banned by doing some illegal things like accepting deliveries on all three apps all at the same time and delivering all over the place. The apps will notice this, will notice you're going all over the place, and you will get banned because you're wasting people's time and wasting their money, or even doing such things as stealing food. So don't do that. So this is where Boeing Delivery comes to the rescue, and we will now, in a minute, go through the Excel sheets to show you the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of Boeing Delivery. And just to quickly go through, if anyone wants to go through the slides again, these are the application websites for in the UK and Ireland at least for just the delivery Uber Eats. Go for an Amazon Flex or parcel delivery companies instead of food delivery companies. That's another option as well. And for social and insurance, there is an app called Rodeo, which is a social media app, almost a bit like Facebook, for delivery drivers only. This is great if you want to get to know delivery drivers, get to know with them. It also tallies in with your earnings. So all the earnings that you earn on your apps for Just Eat, Uber, and Deliveroo are all uploaded onto Rodeo, and you can see how much you earn for all three in any one day, any one week. LiveScore is an excellent website recommended to me by one of the drivers, which is a live score, so to speak, of major football events going on around the EU, I believe, around the EU and the UK as well. This was great. Make sure that make sure if I have missed anything on my calendars for adding in major sports events, I just log on to LiveScore and see what's going on a few weeks ahead. Zigo is an insurance policy that you need to apply to when doing food delivery with the apps, Just Eat, Uber, and Deliveroo. This is on top of your normal social, domestic, and pleasure insurance that you would normally have on your car. This is all specific to the UK and Ireland and the EU, I believe, as well. And just to go really quickly, the equivalent of Just Eat in the US is Grubhub, exact same company. DoorDash is very famous, I'd imagine, over in the US, and Uber Eats is available as well. As for social media pools, we have the drivers pool. I believe we were talking to Bill last week from the drivers pool, who was also very interested in this. So he has the drivers pool on Facebook as well as A to B transport. So that concludes this slide. Hopefully that wasn't too long now. Uh, let's see now. budget here. I'm just checking, Jonesy, you can still see me. Everything's clear, is it?
Yep,
Hello?
it's still up. Yep.
Oh, okay, must be a bit of a delay there. So, no, maybe this is better.
And so you bring up the driver's pool. That's interesting
Moving the
because
budget.
unlike all of these on-demand driving and delivery
For me,
services, the
this is
driver's
where,
pool
yeah,
is
so for
meant
me,
to.
this is where everything,
Oh, I think we got some lag here.
yeah, yes, I believe there's a bit of lag, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to give a differentiator
Just,
with the driver's pool because all the other services you mentioned are on demand, and the driver's pool is meant for last leg transportation from destinations, in which all of the rides are set up well in advance. So it's a good way to add that additional stream and income opportunity that kind of takes it outside of the on demand format.
yes, exactly. Uh, I believe there's a little bit of a lag, Jonesy, but I assume you can still hear me, is it?
I can still hear you. Yeah, yeah. I'll just be careful with when I try to interrupt you.
Okay, well, I'll move on then to the budget. So for me, this is where it all started. I added in some pictures here just to make it not look very scary and boring, because I think I was also starting to fall asleep when I was looking at my own budget. I basically put in, I remember sitting there in the park and I started just putting in my costs. I put in my rent, I looked at my electricity, gas, internet, TV, bins, phone, food, and so on, and I just added them all up to see what does it all come to. My variable costs, all the costs that I am in control of. I can actually change them according to my lifestyle, whereas I rent with my landlord is fixed. So I know what my variable costs are. And this is my total cost, which is my fixed cost with all my variable costs added together. Up here, I have my wages, along with, well, I used to have allowances like travel, health insurance, overtime, and so on. That's all gone now. That was all gone when I joined my new company. But I was able to see, right, here's my fixed and variable costs. Here's my total income. So I know, right, this is what I have. This is what I have as my net income after my income and my costs. So all this extra, I can choose, well, maybe I'll put some of it into savings, for example, which gives me with a net income minus savings of disposable income of zero, which that's not a number you exactly want to be looking at. But what it means here is my income has equaled my expenses and I am breaking even. So at least I'm not losing money. But now I need to see what I can do to make money. And that's when the idea started of me to, that's when the idea started of me to start a new side hustle basically. Just really quickly, here's a picture of me actually in the Intel fab working away, possibly violating every single ergonomics rule in there. But I didn't care. I only had 3 days left, and I was out there. Of course, it's not the original Intel logo. There have been some modifications here. This is a picture of the actual Intel stock from the beginning of the year, starting off from $60 a share, I believe, plummeting all the way down to $10 or lower, I believe. It was a very bad year for Intel.
Mhm.
So it was good. It was a good thing I got out early at the time because it was only going to get worse. And amidst all of this depressing stuff, I just put a picture of me here with my new colleagues in the new job, dressed up as an elf and winning the competition. So yeah, that makes things a bit more cheerful. So that was 2023. This was at the end of 2023. Moving on to 2024. This is where things really start. My rent is fixed. What you'll see here is why are my variable costs all zero now? Because I had a new plan, and my plan was right. This is where I went in my recovery plan. I said to myself, all of my bills, petrol, food expenses will be paid through money earned from deliveries. And the current plan would be to reduce the expenses on my bank account, thereby clearing my overdraft. So the idea was I was going to take off all of these expenses. All of these expenses would be paid off through my deliveries, which
Hmm.
would leave me free with just my rent and just my wages. And that would allow my bank account to slowly and steadily grow by bit every month. It wasn't exactly that amount. I had other incurred costs, but it was close enough that I can still put money into savings and still watch my bank account slowly grow and grow and grow out of debt throughout the year. This was at the beginning of January. Beginning of January, I was in debt. Now we're into October. I am well out of debt. Thank God for that. So, again, just to spice things up a little bit, I actually have a picture here of me in Domino's delivery bags that made it in through the night. And here we have a picture of my co-worker uh, at the company that I work for with Intel, posing as the statue of Instratech, so to speak, the Statue of Liberty. Sorry. Here's me looking for ways to, sorry. Terribly
All
sorry.
good. All good. No worries. No worries, brother.
Bad dose. But anyway. Uh, right then. Moving on. I'm going to move into my away for a second and have a sip of water. I shall be back in 1 second.
We're taking a 2-minute break. Everybody can get up and stretch now.
Right. Are we still live, Jonesy?
We are, sir.
Perfect. Right. So, what I'm going to do now is, you see in front of me here a very scary looking schedule of even in all of my, this is my targets basically. And this started off very small, I promise. It only started off with just this portion here. This was me putting in my daily schedules when I was working over at Domino's and with just each word. You probably look at thing, but I promise it's actually quite simple. So what I have in here are my targets. And you might be saying to yourself, well, how did I come up with these numbers? If I click into each of these cells coming up, what I have here is all the different regions that I would have been delivering to. I actually have a map here of the regions. Let's hope that loads up. So if that's clear enough,
Yeah.
that's Navan up here, way up
Mhm.
here. That's where I work, Enfield being here. And Leixlip, Maynooth, and Kilcock will be around here. And for reference, you can see where Dublin is. So zooming into the next one, Maynooth is at the center of it. This is where Domino's would be based. And the primary locations for delivery for Domino's are in Cork. and the primary areas of delivery for Just Eat, Uber, and Deliveroo are only in Maynooth for the time being. Again, we have a screenshot here of Maynooth, all the different areas that we would be delivering to. Meatslip, which is where Intel is based, right over here, along with all the different areas that we would deliver to, as well as Kilcock. This is where we get paid for extra deliveries because it's a long distance away.
Okay.
So going back here, the average rate of yeah, the average rate of pay that we would get for a single or a double delivery would be in this table here. And I found that I would normally average, well, one drop per hour, which is not great because we have a lot of drops. I took all of the rate per drops, the delivery that we would get per drop, and I ended up just taking the average of them all, which averages to 8.15 euros an hour, which is not great. Right.
So Faisal, see if you can go back to the StreamYard tab. I wonder if you end recording, because it's recording on both our sides, which isn't really necessary because it's streaming and it gets saved anyway. If that'll free up some bandwidth.
Yeah. That.
I don't really have an option here to cancel your recording for some reason. Kind of weird.
Oh, maybe I have to say stop cam, is it? Oh no. Well, at least the delay is gone.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot better. Whatever just happened. All right, that works.
Right. We go for it.
Go for it.
Right. Here we go. I shall push through. So, moving on. Back to presenting. Share screen. If I share window.
Come back in. There we go.
Yep. Right.
Very good.
Here I am now. So, again, I'll try and go through this as quickly as possible. What I'm looking at here is my wage per hour. This is the average of all of the deliveries. Let me set targets for myself. I know that, say, on Wednesday, I will work there for 4 hours. Same with Thursday, 4 hours. All that's happening in these cells is it's taking this number here, multiplying it by 4, and this is what you get, 32.6. Let's just stick with that. Let's just say it's 30 for now. So I would set a target for myself for Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, I would do a Saturday. I can work there for 6 hours, which comes to 48.9. Let's just say 50 euros. At the same time, prior to starting my shifts, I would be on Just Eat, Uber, whatever, doing a couple of hours, earning a bit of extra. What happens then is these values are input here into my weekly and monthly tabs. All these are the sum of what I've done that week for Domino's, Just Eat, Deliveroo is I want to find out how much I am paying for in tax. Now, this is very specific only to the apps. We'll talk about Domino's later. So I know that this is how much I would be earning from my apps on a weekly and monthly basis before tax. After tax, the way the tax system works here in Ireland is you are taxed on your income 20% from about minimum wage up until about, say, between minimum wage and that amount, you are within what's called the 20% income tax bracket. 20% of your income goes to tax. Once you exceed 42,000 euros, you head into what's called the 40% tax rate, which means all the income over 42 grand that you are earning is taxed at 40%. But we can deal with it. We can make it work for us.
So I do have to put
I
the
saw how
disclaimer:
managed
we are not attorneys, we are not accountants. You are always advised to talk to a
yeah,
business attorney, tax accountant, while making these decisions before, and especially for your bookkeeping and tax records and filing. And always stick close to home with that. You're going to want to stick to somebody who knows the local municipalities, their rules, their tax liabilities, their laws. Especially in the United States, a lot of the local
exactly.
municipalities
Correct.
have an earned income tax that's at the hyper local level now. So um, make sure your bookkeeping is tight. That's what we're getting at here, because then you want that accountant to be able to optimize your claims anyway, your deductions, and then after that your filings and
The
returns, right?
guideline.
Because these
Exactly.
are all
Guideline
now,
for me.
in a way, qualified business expenses. Um, so yeah, you get to optimize your tax strategy by appropriate bookkeeping.
Yeah, your voice is cutting off a bit there, Jonesy, but I'm not sure if you can pick that up.
I was telling people to basically we're not giving tax advice or legal advice. We are not lawyers. We are not accountants. Seek counsel and retain an accountant and bookkeeper for such things.
Exactly. That's right. What this is a guideline for yourself. It's a
Hmm.
guideline for you to keep track of your expenses, know where you're going, know if you're hitting your targets, and it just gives you a guideline to work on. That's all.
Sure. So, and we discussed this before, but I want to bring it back up again. Is I can see this working as an app or even as a web app, because big spreadsheets are intimidating to some people. Even though yours could be interchangeable, where the formulas are already written, so theoretically, a driver or entrepreneur could put in their apps and their rates, and then the rest of the work will be done, right? There's some variables in there as far as vehicles, expenses, because that's definitely highly variable. On a vehicle, we're talking about a Nissan sedan versus somebody who may be doing Uber XL. They're driving a Chevy Suburban, right? 3 rows, and it gets like 3 miles to the gallon, and the operating expenses are way more. So, but in turn, that would shape the type, frequency, and uh, really the app companies that they're working with.
Exactly. That's right. So in hindsight, if I can remember what we were talking about. In hindsight, yes, I think it can be turned into an app because there's only a few different variables to be put in within the entire massive spreadsheet. Um, the hours that you want to work, for example, how much you are looking to earn. There's only a few variables in total, but it's spitting out all of these numbers at you at the same
Mhm.
time. I like having it spit all the numbers in front of me. I like seeing my working out in front of me. But for other people, yeah, no problem. It can probably be turned into an app without issue, hopefully.
Yeah, you know what? For the end user, they're gonna want to put in a couple parameters and then have a solution spit out to them, which I really think with I shouldn't say it's easy to make an app now because that's something I still would outsource. We build marketing websites. We don't build apps on our side. But the barrier to creating an app has never been lower, especially since you don't have to make it to start out with, right? We talk about our minimum viable products to get them out to market and test market viability and user base first, beta test. A programmed web app that's client side facing. So you spin it up in your browser, borndelivery.app, whatever it ends up being. Uh, you know, whether or not programming's in your wheelhouse, we can probably try to partner you with somebody. But having some API connections to those specific delivery apps, if they're available, integrate that. And then you were talking about the events calendar. Um, Google Trends, right? Having this app tap into all that, and then either having a custom algorithm or leveraging AI to spinning up a suggestions and recommendations report for a delivery driver, for an entrepreneur for that day or that week, to provide them with a game plan.
Exactly. That's right. So I just mentioned the calendar there. I will very briefly go back and share my screen just to give you a glimpse of that calendar. Yes, okay. So moving on really quickly, loads. Right. What I have here is a calendar for 2024 that I set for myself with all of my earnings. As you can see, this was the first day that I started. I decided I'm just going to go in every day. Of course, that didn't work. I got tired. That's when I started setting targets for myself, saying, right, maybe I'll go in on Saturday. And that happened for a while. And as you can see, the money was piling up and building up, and I could see it piling up and building up. And that drove targets to reach for, and I almost found it almost scary how close I would actually get these targets.
Mhm.
I put something like 32 in my target, and you can see I actually earned 34. This was plus a tip again for say Fridays and Saturdays. I actually exceeded my targets, and I would get up to say 65 or 51 on a Saturday. My highest earning was, well, 107 on one Saturday. I wouldn't recommend anyone do this, and it nearly drove me mad, and it nearly had a fight that I actually earned in one day. This was a once-off.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I would stick to my targets, stick to my schedule, and I just kept going on and on and on. And as you can see, I have all of these different highlights as well. This was all more, say, life events that I had going on for myself, like
So
the
then I
bank holidays
suppose a
and public
feature that could
holidays here in
be
Ireland
that could be
that we
built in
opt
as an
for
end
work.
report is,
Uh,
oh man, you know what? I took Wednesday off. I wasn't feeling great. Or, since you brought up events, right? Some users of this app, some drivers would take advantage of sporting events, right? It's rugby season, and if you're a massive fan, you know what? Maybe we want you to live your life. So maybe you're taking a couple days off to get in front of your team. Where we're at in Southeast PA, our headquarters near Philadelphia, quite known for being rabid sports fans here, and we're getting right into baseball postseason right now. So you can present a couple choices. One, do you hang out by the stadiums? Do you hang out waiting for offers for jobs to bring chicken wings to ravenous fans? Or do you take some time off and then enjoy the games? And then what? That means you got to make up that time somehow. So then, in the way I see the next iteration of the app is that, okay, all right, smart guy, you took, what is today's Tuesday? You took Tuesday off. Here's what you're going to have to do on Wednesday to keep on your targets, or distribute it between the next 3 days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, your voice was cutting off there a little bit, but I get the gist of what you were talking about, which there are sporting events that go on, and you choose for yourself, as in, well, generally speaking, if there is a local match going on, it's going to be busy at your area. You choose then, well, I'd like to support my local team and take that day off, or will I go ahead and do deliveries? And what I've done for 2024 is I've went ahead and I've highlighted all of these within the section. I just put a little note for myself and I say, right, I see the Euros are on here for June, the way for Euros. And I go closer, some national service in the community here. So days that I went out to do deliveries, I scored. I absolutely scored. I made an absolute killer because people were out and about. They wanted food. They wanted to root for the team. So I went out, delivered during these days, absolutely scored. The exact same schedule, uh, just with specific earnings only to my apps as opposed to just Domino. Hey Jonesy, yeah, you can go ahead and put in your own say tabs for, well, maybe this is rent day, maybe I need to go and fix things on my car, do my tires, my brakes, service the car, etc., or just take some time off, take a day off. Uh,
All right, we know you got to take time off. We know you got to sharpen the saw. It's one of Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people. All right, that still
Still
remains
there, are
true
we?
today. So where we're at now is you have the concept of this platform, of this formula, and of this basic level app. We have a target audience. We have a series of pain points and a series of solutions presented. Um, you you created this framework out of a need for yourself. And actually, I can think of another use case is literally somebody who just wants to, uh, get out of debt. You can apply a number figure and then input it into here and create small targets for goals to get yourself out of debt, which is really cool. I just thought of that right now as a different use case. Um, so we're in the last quarter of 2024. What's the next step or next series of steps you're going to take with Boing Delivery?
Right. So the next series of steps, I do actually have, again, share the screen. I have actually prepared the budget for 2025. And I'll very briefly show you through this. Yeah.
All right, I got you.
What I have here is, again, I've just I've tidied it up a little bit, and I've created a budget for 2025. Again, my fixed costs, my variable costs and all. And if we go through all of the, if we go again through all of the tabs, it's the same thing. I have different targets set this. I have a few different targets set this time. A few days that I will take off, a few days that I will work. Uh, I have a schedule for myself. You know, when I'll wake up, when I'll go to bed, when I'll work, and so on. And for 2025, I work Saturday and Sunday because I can see the GAA is on here, or the Premier League would be on,
Mhm.
or
Okay.
rugby would be on, or any major sporting event which is popular within the area. 25 is ready here as a template, and I have at least half of 2025 ready with the major sporting event calendars for both Domino's, Just Eat, Uber, Deliveroo, as well as extra tabs as well for any tips that come through to you throughout the year. Or I
Now, if
also have
somebody was
tabs
to
for how
to
much I
to
am paying
message us
for
today and say,
fuel,
"Hey, I really want this." How can somebody get this
as
app, get
well
this
as
spreadsheet, get
the
this
mileage.
formula?
Come again, Jonesy.
Yeah, I think we had some lag again. So we're coming up on time. So I wanted to ask if when somebody, you know, either comments or comes through and says, I need that spreadsheet. I need that template today. How would they go about getting that from you?
At the moment, I don't have, say, a website up and running or anything, but I would be happy to help out a few people to get started. I would be happy to share it to begin with and see what people think of it. Let them try it out. Let them see what they think. If they find that it is viable and they would like to use it, I would definitely be happy then to expand it. Maybe start up a website, for example, and start issuing it out maybe on maybe an app is far fetched at this point, but I would be able to say share the OneDrive to where this is linked. Maybe give people free access to begin with for the first week or so, the first month. Let them try it out. If they're happy with it, then we can probably discuss how to go about with a subscription based model of some sort. This is all in the very early stages right now, and for the most part, it was for me to help me manage my costs and expenses and get out of debt. Um, it would be a huge deal and a great honor for me to be able to see this grow into something that people would find useful and cherish and be able to use and for their own needs, whether it be delivery driving, like you said, or get out of debt. I think I'd be happy right now to share it with a few people and see what they think.
That's great. So if you want this, drop a comment in the thread here. Um, I will keep it up. So this is going to be accessible to conversion chemistry members. As kind of an offshoot from their mastermind. We'll keep this stream up for a week, and then we hope everybody who's watching this joins conversion chemistry because that's how collaborations like this and that's how we get to watch you grow.
Exactly, and I'm very happy that you had me on today, Jones. I hope we didn't go too much over time, and I know we had a few hiccups and downtime here as well.
It's bound to happen. We're rolling with it. I'm sure it'll turn out fine because it's recording twice. Any other final remarks before we end stream here?
So once again, I'm very happy to be able to share this with everyone. When I started this, it was very daunting, and I thought to myself, I was in a bad position at the time, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do? But just through a bit of perseverance and a bit of ingenuity, and just pushing through it, and having a plan, you can get yourself out of debt or trouble or whatever it is that you're in. Follow a plan, stick to a plan, and I promise you, by the end of the year, you will be unstuck.
Fantastic words of wisdom, fantastic advice. I thank you. Um, I this was great. I'm really excited to see the next iteration of this. Faisal, I'll be in touch. Definitely see you in the conversion chemistry forums. I'll see you at the next mastermind. Um, we want you to win. I'll leave you with
We
that.
want you to we want you to win. That's what we want.